gata, mă duc, m-am răzgândit. De fapt ăștia din aia, când te urci pe motoretă, fix atunci e după tine, în rest, n-au nicio treabă.
Scuze, sorry. Riding the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro, and it's a completely new bike. It has nothing to do with the previous model. So far I love it. I like the riding position the most because it feels like a proper adventure bike. You can stand on it easy, everything is in touch. It's easy to maneuver it, and now I'm handling a quite technical road. It's one of my favorites in the Carpathians. I recently discovered it and I love it. Whoop! Mama! Ooh. That was close. The all-time Tiger 800 was my favorite bike in the middleweight adventure class at some moment, and that's because it was a great mix between street manners and off-road performance. And now I am more than happy to try the new Triumph Tiger 900, which is a completely new bike and it has nothing to do with the old model. Now the Radiator is split in two parts, so the guys at Triumph managed to put the engine lower without losing the ground clearance, and this is very important because now this bike is more nimble than before. And also the standing riding position is better than before, at least for my taste, because now the handlebar is closer to you, the distance between the handlebar and you is shorter, and it's very easy to grab the handlebar, it's very easy to put the knees into the tank and to steer the bike in off-road. And this is happening when going up, when going down, it doesn't matter. As far as I remember, at the old Triumph it was a problem, at least for me, when going down the steep slopes. It was a bit uncomfortable to stand on the bike, but now it's perfectly fine. I love this riding position. We still have a tubular steel frame over here, but the most important change is at the back, the subframe, because finally we have a bolted subframe. You can see the bolts over here, and the passenger foot pegs are also bolted on the subframe. When in off-road, it's very easy to remove the rubber from the foot pegs, and I'm gonna do it right now. You don't need any tool, it's very simple. And now I'm not gonna slip anymore from the bike. And come on, because I want to show you another cool feature. It's on this side, and it's the rear brake. Now is on the high position because it's for off-road use, for standing on the bike. And if you want to change it, you just have to push it like this and to turn it around, and then you're gonna have a brake suitable for city use. This is very cool, actually. Another cool feature, and this is very important if you're going in big trips, in long adventure rides, in dusty places, in the Sahara, I don't know, on the Pamir Highway or something like that. It's very important that you have easier access to the air filter, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. I'm gonna remove the rear seat. By the way, this is the Rally Pro version. It's a top spec version, so we have heated seats for the passenger, for the rider. So this place over here, which is also very cool, is for the smartphone. It's a smartphone cradle. I'm gonna put it right now, so it should fit. And let's move to the front seat. I'm gonna put that Okay, the front seat. Yeah, this is the toolbox over here, and this should be the place where you can find the air filter, so you can take it away and clean it or change it or whatever. Let's get to the suspension now. They're not provided by WP anymore. We're talking about a Showa front fork right now. It comes with a long travel, 240 millimeters, which is more than enough for the kind of off-road you're doing with a big adventure bike. And so far, I'm very pleased with the suspension. I have nothing to complain about it. And yeah, it feels plush when going on bumpy roads. It feels stable enough at high speeds, and it feels very good in off-road. And it's also adjustable, so you can set it up as you wish. Now the braking power, we have Brembo Stylema calipers. Guys, these are top spec calipers. You can stop a superbike with this one, so no problem, no issue, nothing to worry about in the case of an adventure bike. So having this on a middleweight adventure bike, it's just very, very cool. Another new feature for this year is that we have tubeless tires, front and rear, with these spoked wheels. They allow you to put tubeless tires, and this is very important in the case of a tire puncture in the middle of the road. You know that. As you might see, I picked some knobbies for this trip because from the factory, the Triumph Tiger Rally Pro, even the Rally Pro version, is coming with street tires. So I had to switch and to buy some Continental TKC on front and some Mitas EO7 on the back. Now let's get to the most important part when you're talking about a bike, the engine. It's still a triple, but it's not the same one. And it's not just that, because we're not talking just about a larger volume. The guys at Triumph changed the firing intervals, so now we have a 1-3-2 firing interval, and they're saying that this way this engine is more connected to you, it gives a better response, and it gives more torque in the low RPM range while keeping high torque in the mid RPM range. Well, I know it feels better than the one before, but still you cannot say it has a lot of torque in the low RPM range. I mean, you cannot compare it to the twin cylinder bikes. You have to keep it in the mid RPM range to have fun and to get the most out of this engine. And if riding in off-road, let's put it this way, if riding in the desert, or I don't know, if riding on a straight is not going to be a problem, but you gotta feel the lack of torque when trying to climb a steep hill or something like that, and we're going downwards. Also, you don't have engine brake. So this is the thing with this engine. Of course, it's a triple. It is different. You cannot compare it to a twin. I have several riding modes. I used it mainly on the Rally Pro. I think no, it's Off-Road Pro riding mode. I'm waiting for the bike to turn on. So now let's check out the riding modes. It's very easy to switch through them. You have two buttons, one for the modes and the other one to select the riding mode. It can be confusing sometimes because it's right behind the turning lights. And anyway, the Off-Road Pro riding mode comes with the ABS shutdown. The map is on off-road and the traction control is off. I used it on the off-road traction control and it felt a bit too intrusive for me, so I configured the riding mode. It's very simple to do it. The Off-Road Pro riding mode, keeping the ABS in the off-road mode, which means you have the ABS on front but you don't have ABS on rear, and the traction control completely switched off. So this is my my favorite choice. Traction control switched off and ABS only on front. And one more thing, after turning off the engine, the bike goes into the road riding mode. Why Triumph? Why just leave it on the off-road riding mode? It's not that dangerous for an off-road rider to go on street with the off-road riding mode. However, it's a warning that appears on the dash, and it says to you, if you want to change the mode and to get back to the previous mode, you should just press the buttons, but still you should press the buttons, and I don't want to do that. I just want to turn on the bike and have my favorite riding mode on. So it's just the handguard. The fairing is okay. I had this crash bar. Yeah, it seems everything is okay. The Triumph Tiger 900, it's a comfortable bike. It is at least as comfortable as its predecessor, and I really enjoyed it riding this whole 2 days. Now, let's get to the details, because we have an adjustable windshield over here, and you can do it like this, but unfortunately you cannot do it while on the go. But still, it's a easy to use mechanism. Now, the windscreen is high enough, is tall enough, no matter your height, but the wind deflectors and the fairings are missing. I mean, you have these wind deflectors over here, but still you're getting some turbulences, you're getting some noise, in the helmet, and you're getting some air in the shoulder area. However, it is somehow normal for this middleweight class. If you're choosing this bike for long trips and for the weekend rides, it's gonna be okay. But if you're gonna use it in the city, we might have a problem, because this part of the frame over here is heating up quite quickly, and also when sitting like this, you have all the wind coming from the radiator, from this hole right in your knee, all the hot wind. So in the hot summer days, if you're living in a hot climate, it might be a bit uncomfortable if riding it with jeans and with I don't know, with city outfit. When riding with motorcycle gear, it's gonna be okay. Also, the seat is very comfortable, both for you and for the passenger, and is heated, which is a plus in this category. This bike feels very good on the twisties. I have to admit that I had a lot of fun today, because this new engine is pulling okay, just as you wish, somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 RPM. After 6,000 RPM, it's getting a bit vibey, but in the 6th gear at 6,000 RPM, you're having about 160 kilometers per hour, so it's not gonna be a problem for you. Otherwise, you can feel some small vibes in the handlebar, but as I told you, it's okay, you can bear them, and the engine still doesn't have that punch that you're getting from a 2-cylinder engine, but still is very nice and very fun to use on street. The suspension works pretty good. I must admit that I'm missing a bit the WP suspension, but this Showa still does a good job, because yesterday I was on off-road, today I went on street, and I adjusted it a bit because it had too much dive in, and now it feels quite good because this fork is fully adjustable and you can set it up a bit. Also, in order to have fun on street, I changed the tires. As you can see, these are the originals. The fuel consumption, well, I got 6 liters for 100 kilometers in this test ride regime. I used it on the highway, on twisties, in off-road, and I think that if you go slower, you can get a 5.5 or even a 5 liters for 100 kilometers fuel consumption. So it's pretty good for this 20 liters fuel tank. There's nothing that I really dislike, but it has some annoying things. For example, when going in off-road and turning off the engine and turning back on, it goes automatically to the road riding mode, and I don't want that. Also, you cannot swipe from the road riding mode to the off-road riding mode on the go. And it's a pity because you have to stop and you're missing all the fun. And when you're in off-road and you go to the street, you also have to stop to switch from off-road riding mode to the road riding mode. I also don't like that I have this huge screen and it's got a lot of function and a lot of options, but it's okay, but I don't like the layout and I don't like the way they arranged all the info on the screen, because there are some essential information that I have to scroll and to look through the menu to find about, for example, to find about the tire pressure, because I got a warning over there. I don't know why, because I used various tire pressures that I think it's okay, suitable for both off-road and street. But anyway, this is what I dislike. If you're putting a 7 inches TFT dash, at least you should organize it a bit better. For example, it took me a half a day or something like that to spot the icon with the riding mode. I didn't know where to find the riding mode on the screen, and it's just a tiny icon, a 1 centimeter icon in the bottom of the screen. So why Triumph? You have a 7 inches TFT dash. Put the info somewhere where I can see it. If you want to ride during the night, you should get these auxiliary lights, because if you have only the headlight, it doesn't give you enough light to ride safe. And I think it's a bit worse than the previous model. Obviously, this bike has a huge competition in the market. You got the BMW F850 GS, you got the new Honda Africa Twin, what else? You got even the KTM 790 Adventure. There are a lot of middleweight adventure bikes, but I'm sure this bike, the Triumph Tiger 900, will find its place in the market, because it's a very good bike. It's a good bike. I liked it, I liked riding it. I have to compare it, to do a direct comparison with the KTM and the BMW and the Africa Twin. Of course I have to do it, but still I like this bike. I think that finally Triumph came with a more off-road approach for the Tiger 900, because I remember that the old Tiger 800 was the most street-oriented bike in the middleweight adventure segment. You had the Tiger, then you had the others. But this one, the Tiger 900, comes with a totally different approach. It's more off-road. It's the most adventurous Tiger, in my opinion. So if you want to ride mostly on street, you should buy the GT or the GT Pro version. But if you like adventure riding, if you like going to remote places, or if you want to go through the rough roads, you should go for this one, for the Rally Pro. It's an obvious choice, and looking at this bike and having in mind this road I had with it, I'm sure that I could go wherever with this bike. I could go to the end of the world.